Decoding Learning Differences with Kimberlyn Lavelle, and this episode is The Motivating Power of Expectations. So in this episode, we're talking about expectations and how to use expectations to motivate your child. Now, again, if you go back and listen to those old episodes on motivation, they're still very relevant. The goal in motivation, we have to be very careful, because if the goal is to get the child to do a particular thing, there are ways to help motivate. But it'll never work if we're like being grumpy about it or trying too hard to get a particular outcome. And what I mean by that is, like, if I'm trying to use this to get my child to get their math work done, and I'm coming at it with that energy of, just get it done, probably is not going to be as effective. The energy that you come at something with and the tone of voice when we're communicating is very powerful, which I'm constantly being reminded of in the way that I speak to my kids and the way they speak to me. And we're kind of both having to reset and go, you know what? That didn't feel good. Let's try that again. So one example of expectations leading to what we want is research is kind of well established that when you let students know the learning objective, what it is that they're supposed to be learning during the lesson, before the lesson starts, they're much more likely to learn what you meant to teach them. If you just start the lesson, then at the end, they might have gotten something completely different out of it. For example, if you were to say, our objective today is to learn to analyze the motivations of main characters in literature, and we're going to be doing that with this text, that'll be a very different outcome than if you just start, Susie, read paragraph 1, Johnny, read paragraph 2. Okay, why did that character do this activity, right? If they're just being told to do stuff, they don't know why they're doing it, and therefore they don't have buy-in. So they're already mentally kind of checked out. At the end of the lesson, what did you learn today? I don't know. Maybe the most attuned students are saying, we learned about characters, or we learned about whatever the name of the story is. We learned about this story. But it's unlikely that they would say, we learned about the motivations of main characters. And because they were never told that that's what they were supposed to be learning. So even though you were trying to teach it, not telling them what they're supposed to be learning makes it harder for them to learn it. And it's such a simple change. And a lot of times it is just overlooked. Like, sometimes teachers get so excited about the lesson. Oh, this is a really interesting story, and I'm going to do it with this, and we're going to do this activity, and they're going to be moving around the classroom for this, or whatever it is. Like, sometimes it's a great lesson, but it didn't start with the objective, and then the kids just don't know what it is that they're supposed to be learning, so they don't get as much out of it. I think about this with a particular curriculum that I'm using with my own kids at home for science. And I don't always tell them what they're supposed to be learning, because sometimes I haven't even read far enough ahead in the lesson of what they're supposed to be learning. So I'm kind of with them as we go, going through the lesson, and there'll be some activity. One example is they're supposed to be dropping marbles into, well, we did it with sand. They're dropping marbles into sand at different heights. So great, they learned something about physics, but it was supposed to be related to, I think, Venus. Like, it was, but they didn't connect it to Venus at all, because it was after the fact that it was kind of added on as a discussion. It wasn't explicitly said at the beginning that this is the point. This is what you're learning about today. And that little change, which is on me, I should have read ahead to see what it is that we're supposed to be learning today. Okay, let me tell my kids this. So that little change makes all the difference in whether or not they actually are able to learn what it is that we want them to learn. So expectations can really make a big difference in letting them know what it is you expect them to learn. Similarly, it can be used to motivate the behavior that you want to see. I expect at the museum that you are going to not touch anything and that we're all going to stay together. What it is that I expect, right? And we're getting them to say it back so we know that they know those two things. So, and then you're much more likely to have the behavior you want instead of after the fact, you're there, they're running off or they're touching something and you're scrambling and yelling at them and everyone's frustrated and upset. Ahead of time, if they have those expectations, they're more likely to follow those expectations because it's been laid out, it's clear, it's easy, everyone was in a good mood when we said it. We entered the museum happy knowing what's expected of us and could continue with that, right? So, expectations, super, super powerful. It changes our perception within a lesson. It can be used in a whole classroom. It can be used in a home setting. It can also be used more long-term. If you're sending your kid to tutoring, with the tutor there, all of you need to have that conversation. You know, what is it you expect Johnny to learn from the tutoring session today? Or what is your long-term goal for Johnny's tutoring with you? So that he knows why he's there, what he is expected to get out of it. Because a lot of times kids go to tutoring, they don't really know why they're there. They just feel dumb. Like that's what they say. I might have to go tutoring because I'm dumb. And they're not able to understand the small pieces of what they're supposed to get out of it that day or the larger overarching reason that the tutoring will benefit them. So setting expectations can really make a big difference. And I would really encourage you to give it a try. Now, for bonus points, when you're setting expectations, provide a visual. Write out what they're supposed to be learning that day. Not only write it out, add in writing it out or drawing a picture that represents it or some visual that they can see, oh yeah, that's what we're supposed to be learning today. And they can kind of they'll keep seeing it there as this is what I'm supposed to be learning today. You've already also said it verbally in an excited voice, using that tone of voice that is motivating, everyone's on the same page and everyone's happy. So the visual that's consistently there, as well as the verbal that we talked about at the beginning, maybe midway, especially if it's a longer term goal across multiple days, you want to keep coming back to it. And then you want to have a wrap up, like more bonus points for wrapping it up at the end. If at the end of the lesson, you say, oh, yeah, what did we learn today? What were we trying to learn today? Did it work? Did you learn what we were trying to learn? And then they're, again, thinking about what was it I was supposed to be learning? Did I learn it? Yes, no, whatever. They're more likely to retain that information and understand what they were supposed to have learned that day. So you get a lot more progress out of kids that way. You also get a lot more buy-in to begin with. They're more motivated to learn the thing that you're trying to teach them. So verbal discussion, visual to add it in, and a wrap-up conversation to bring it all together and make sure they actually got out of it what everyone was trying to get out of it. So if you have any questions about this, IEPs, or how to help your kids at home if you're a homeschooling parent or you're doing extra tutoring for your kids after school or anything, and you want to know how can I support my child the very best I can, or what can I get help with the school, how do I navigate this IEP process, anything like that, I can help you out. Email me, Kimberlyn@decodinglearningdifferences.com, and we will set something up. In the meantime, I cannot wait to hear from you, and I look forward to seeing you next week.